Hello, so good morning. This is something that may be familiar to some of you who've been watching my videos for a while, because last year I was doing the panoramic views in my Constantina sketchbook, and I thought I'd take you on this sort of walk up to this view because the grasses this year are wonderful, and there's been a lot of breeze and they've been wafting in the breeze and actually being quite inspiring. I've always loved ornamental grasses. It's always been a passion of mine, and so these natural grasses, these ones in the wild, all the different ones that I think you can probably see now on the ground level on these banks are just stunning, and I have therefore turned my attention to these as a source of inspiration for some of the pastel and ink work that I did as part of the 100-day project, and I'm still continuing with that because I didn't finish it. And I've just been out here really enjoying the sort of, I suppose, the simplicity of this landscape now, and I am going to share with you some of those works and possibly demonstrate as well. Okay, so I'm having to do a voiceover because the wind looking this direction was too great on the microphone. So what I was talking about in the original was that I've done a few social media posts about this recently, the importance of noticing what you notice. And these grasses for me, even though I was trying to focus on other planting, I kept being drawn to these. And on the surface, they look like, just a mass of grass. But once you start looking and studying them, you realise that they're all different heights, there's different colours, there's different seed heads, different flowers, different ways that they move in the wind and catch the light. So there's this tremendous variety, and something that has really started to sort of catch my attention, and it's the thing really that I've been noticing the most as I've been out here looking. And I don't remember it last year, but I don't know why. Maybe I wasn't out at the same time, or they weren't the same because of the weather. I just don't know, but it's interesting. I'm just going to share this patch with you as well, because this is a little bit different. There's a more prevalent, sorry about the jerkiness, I have my greyhound on a leash and she sometimes just gives me that little tug which isn't doing anything for the camera work. So in this patch here, as I was saying, there's more, I don't know if you can see, but these patches of the red and purple amongst the golds, and these are really fascinating and interesting, not only for their colour, but I'm just going to go up to one of them and you can see hopefully the seed heads of them, the flower heads, which are really like little darts and lots of little, sort of almost like a sparkler going off against the more sort of sturdy heads of the more oaty golden ones. And here's just a slightly different view. I'm looking across, which is in the direction of Manchester, as opposed to down the pathway. And again, you can see the grasses waving in a slightly different way. They look different because they're not sinuously down the bank, but they're dancing amongst themselves. This whole notion of noticing what you notice is so kind of important, really, and you just need to be a bit quiet. It doesn't have to be that. I think sometimes we all get trapped, or I do, trapped in this notion of things that will be appealing. Well, you've got to go for what you find appealing, what is fascinating to you. And although I wanted to be fascinated by more general planting, I find myself being drawn to these grasses, and this is what I'm looking at the moment in my studies. Hello, so here I am out in the landscape ready to do some studies. So I'm going to quickly turn the camera around now and get set up so that you can see me doing some of these ink and pastel studies, looking at these wonderful grasses that are simmering and wafting in the wind. Okay. Hello, so here I am out in the landscape. I'm hopeful that you're going to be able to see a little bit of what I'm doing, although of course the view that you see isn't quite the view I'm seeing because you're seeing one direction and I'm looking in the other, but it's somewhat of a similar view. So I have some inks here in my tub here. They're a mix of Sonalia. I've got 3 Sonalia inks and a Dr. P.H. Martin's. And I've also got my pastels, which are the Unison pastels, the landscape box. And I'm going to use a mix. I have a bit of a cough, so I'm sorry about that. It's not what you might think. I'm going to get started and just maybe work on a couple. This is the book that I've shared here before. It's an Indigo Artway sketchbook, and I'm just going to be getting going, and I'm just using 2 different types of material, as I've just shown you, the inks and the pastels. And I'm hopeful that you'll be able to see. I've got it so that hopefully I won't be covering the thick paper with my arm. I've got into a habit really of putting water down before inks, because otherwise the inks just sit there, and then I sometimes spray depending, and I'm just going to do something really simple, and then I'm probably going to just do a walk through the book, so hopefully you can see what's happening there with the inks. It's splaying in quite a nice way, and I'll often do this, and then I might move the ink around and I might splash like I've just done. I was looking through the book and realised that the most successful ones are the ones where I don't over work, which I guess is really obvious in a way. I use a variety of tools to move the ink around, and you might have noticed there's writing on this, and I've got these 2 lists, one which is words for ink and one which is words for pastel, and I sometimes glance at that to kind of give me inspiration, to keep it, you know, loose. So I'm just scratching this across. I think hopefully you can see. I'm trying to move it so that you can see something of the scene and something of what I'm doing. And I think I might just leave it there with that. Sometimes I'll use a dip bamboo pen, but oftentimes I don't. I might just use a twig or something. I'll show you the bamboo so you can just see. So this is the bamboo, and the nice thing about that is that I can do my scratchy stuff, which I love to do. And now I'm looking at the grasses. The grasses are wafting a bit. I don't know if you'll get a lot of noise on here. I'm just moving the ink around, and then I'm gonna come in now and work with pastel. I have tried different ways of working. Sometimes pastel first, sometimes the ink first. What I do find though is that these types of pastels, although they do blend with water, it kind of can make the inks more muddy, and I love the freshness of these inks, so I've tended to have worked ink first and then pastel marks over. Now interestingly, I'm actually looking at the scene, but I'm actually quite inspired by just some random things that I'm noticing, which are coming into this. So I'm not trying to be representative, I'm literally just trying to, again, it's this notice what I notice, and I'm noticing all of these brownie coloured weeds that are amongst the grasses, and that's what's inspiring those marks. So now I'm going to come in with some pastels and just work over the top. So hopefully you can see that as it is. I'd usually do this quicker, but I'm just explaining it to you. So now I am coming in, and I'm not wanting to do too much with the pastel, because again, as I say, the simplicity is the key thing really with these works. And I'm trying to use the pastels in different ways. So whereas before I was making these straight marks, now I'm trying to create a sort of smudginess which kind of picks into the texture of the paper, which is quite nice. And these are more sort of dotty. So again, just adding a bit of variety really. And I kind of like it when it mixes a bit with the water. Although as you can probably see, it does go a bit muddy. So, and this is an area with dogs. So there's a dog walking past, which is quite nice because it was a greyhound, one of my mates. That is quite nice. He was very well behaved. And I just kind of leave it at that really. So it's just a case of trying to, and I've got lots of white space around, which I quite like, just to sort of give it a bit of breathability really. and that's just a simple one I've done, and I'll share with you some of the ones in the book afterwards. That's so that you can see what I've done here. I'm saying I'm finishing, and then I'm putting some orange in because I'm kind of wanting a bit more impact on the colour. So that's one anyway. There you are, and you can see my list of words there, hopefully. Okay, so I promised I would share with you the finished pieces. So just a reminder of the inks there and my simple tools, the pastels, and then these are the two I was working on that I was videoing just now. And hopefully you can see they're relatively similar, but there are some differences between them. And then this is my list of words that I've been sometimes using to help me with. Sometimes I just forget them. Underneath there are some more. Let me just quickly lip this off. There are some more studies, and these studies were overworked, as I think you can see. That's interesting, isn't it, compared to the much more simple studies on the other side. And then I'll just share with you a couple of other pages that I did a couple of days ago, again with exactly the same colour palette, same approach. Hopefully you can see the differences and similarities. So there we are, such a wonderful view. So I will put into the notes for the video a link to subscribe to my newsletter. I know a lot of you are already subscribed, but if you're not, it's a good opportunity. I will be releasing another newsletter soon, and I'll be updating you on my studio, on new work, on where I'm up to with this sort of work, actually, with the pastel and ink work, and also some exciting news about workshops and in the future, and also where I'm going to be exhibiting next. So thanks very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.